All right, so this masterpiece of a drama is finally complete.
It is rated a wild 9.9, so grab your snacks because this story goes crazy.
Our main character, Ba Ze, gets framed by his own adopted brother, Chen Che.
Every single time his biased parents and fiancé punish him, he posts a number in their family group chat.
Seeing those mysterious numbers pile up, his fiancée, Liu Ruyan, actually asks what they mean.
He casually jokes that once they punish him 100 times for the sake of Chen Che, he is done.
He tells her he will leave, but everyone just laughs it off as a petty tantrum.
Nobody cares about the 99th number, but then comes the 100th. Chen Che gets into a hit and run, and to protect him, Liu Ruyan demands that Ba Ze take the fall. His parents even throw him his first ever birthday party, just to guilt trip him into agreeing.
Chen Che is simply too weak to survive prison.
But Ba Ze flat out refuses. Yet late one night, his own parents personally hand him over to the police. Talk about the most toxic family ever, seriously. And his supposed fiancée, Liu Ruyan, actually arranged the whole thing.
She promises to marry him once he is out, telling him to just endure 7 years. They honestly think he will just forgive them, but the moment he enters that prison cell, it is over.
Ba Ze completely gives up on his toxic family and heartless fiancé.
To sever all ties, he decides to go anonymous and dedicate his life to state research.
See, 7 years ago, he was actually accepted into a top-secret national research institute.
But before he could even join, his family threw him to the wolves. Now that his release date is finally approaching, he reapplies to the institute.
Right after sending his application, he gets an immediate response.
They will send a special transport to pick him up on December 10th at exactly 9 p.m.
10 more days. He closes his eyes, counting down the hours.
And then he leaves this miserable family forever. He grabs his faded old bag from the guard as his sentence finally ends,
limping past the heavy iron gates of Qing prison.
Waiting right outside is a massive luxury Karlman Qing off-road vehicle. The dark-tinted window rolls down, revealing his fiancée.
Liu Ruyan looks as gorgeous and cold as ever, calling out his name, Ba Ze. She has not aged a day, while Ba Ze can only look down and quietly get inside.
In the rearview mirror, he catches a glimpse of his own scarred, hollow face.
She tells him she is sorry for his suffering and promises to fulfill her marriage vow.
When she reaches out to hold his thin, worn-out hand, he does something unexpected.
Looking at his own emaciated reflection in her eyes, he slowly pulls his hand back.
He is completely detached, and she immediately notices his cold attitude.
She quickly defends herself, explaining that Chen Che knew he was coming back and got triggered. His depression flared up again. Both parents are currently at the hospital comforting him, but Ba Ze just closes his eyes. Her phone rings, cutting her off. It is Chen Che calling, and Liu Ruyan immediately snatches it up. She answers and instantly pales in sheer panic.
She screams at the driver to speed back to the Chen family estate.
And there he is, standing on the roof of the villa in a white suit. The moment Chen Che sees Chen Ze and Liu Ruyan back together, his face goes completely pale.
He starts sobbing that since they are back, he should just step aside and say goodbye.
And then he dramatic dives right off the roof, even though the villa is literally only 1 story tall. We are talking a 10-meter drop max, but the second Chen Che leaps,
Chen Ze's parents, his brother, and even his own fiancée, Liu Ruyan, lose their minds and rush to him.
That entire night, ambulance sirens are blaring all over the estate. For the next 5 days, the family basically lives at the hospital, just a baby Chen Che. None of them come home. But then, Chen Ze catches a massive broadcast on the restaurant TV.
It is the CEO of Liu's group, Liu Ruyan, and the adoptive son, Chen Che.
They are officially announcing their engagement. Honestly, this plot twist is actually crazy. Right then, the family walks in with Chen Che and Liu Ruyan. The dad speaks up immediately.
He says Chen Che's depression is getting worse, so they made a decision on Chen Ze's behalf.
They are literally giving his engagement to Chen Che, asking if he has any issues with that. Chen Ze silently listens to this absolute nonsense, a cold smirk forming on his face. They already made the choice for him, yet now they have the audacity to ask for his opinion? He looks over at Liu Ruyan and asks her directly if she actually agreed to this.
Liu Ruyan stands up from the sofa, looking completely unfazed.
She walks over and takes Chen Ze's hand, saying Chen Che's only wish right now is to marry her.
She tells him not to worry, because she is only holding a wedding with Chen Che to satisfy him. She claims she won't abandon Chen Ze, but bro, she is literally marrying someone else.
How is that not abandoning him? Chen Ze pulls his hand back immediately.
He is done playing their games, so he just tells them to do whatever they want. Late that night, Chen Ze lies in bed and stares at his phone calendar. It is December 7th, with only 3 days left. Right then, his phone starts to buzz. It is a call from Liu Ruyan. He picks up and asks what she wants, and her familiar voice echoes through the receiver. She tells him that Chen Che saved her life by giving her his kidney back then. So even if Chen Ze objects, she is going through with the wedding no matter what. Hearing this, Chen Ze feels like he just got hit by a massive brick. He is the one who saved her life. He literally gave her his kidney. How did Chen Che take credit for it? He finally blurts out that he was the real savior. He was the donor. There is a heavy silence on the line before Liu Ruyan speaks up coldly. She actually asks when he learned to lie like that during his 7 years in prison. She insists Chen Che saved her, claiming his parents and the doctor can literally prove it. What a massive disappointment, she says. Chen Ze just lies in his freezing bed. He has no words left. 8 years ago, Liu Ruyan was attacked by a rival company. She needed a kidney immediately, and Chen Ze did not hesitate for a second to get tested. He was a match, so he literally gave her one of his own kidneys. Yet now, Chen Che steals all the credit. Frustrated, Chen Ze hangs up and goes to sleep. The next morning, everything is decorated. His parents are busy prepping the wedding, claiming the day after tomorrow is the perfect date. They want it to be grand. At this point, Chen Ze does not even feel sad anymore. He is just numb. Because that day means something else. That day also marks the moment he plans to leave them forever. The next morning, the mansion is incredibly lively. The family throws a massive pre-wedding bachelor party, inviting all the wealthy heirs in the city. Even their old high school classmates show up. Meanwhile, the clock is ticking down. Night falls and Liu Ruyan literally lights up the entire city sky with fireworks just for Chen Che. She calls Z outside, telling him to just wait until her fake marriage with Chen Che is over tomorrow. She says they can finally be together for real. Z opens his mouth, whispering a quiet, sorry. He wants to say he will never be with her again, but he cannot even finish his sentence. His younger brother Cheng yells for Liu Ruyan to hurry inside and start the pre-wedding party games. She yells back that she is coming, then turns to Z asking what he was saying about not doing something. Z just gives her a bitter, empty smile, telling her it is nothing and she should go have fun. She squeezes his freezing cold hand, promising him that once the wedding ends tomorrow, everything will change. She promises it will all be over, then turns around and walks right back to the party. Z stares at her retreating back. He agrees. Everything is indeed about to end. He walks back into the silent villa, alone, checking his phone. It is exactly 7:15. Only 1 hour and 45 minutes left. He starts by taking a long, hot shower to clean himself. Staring into the mirror, he sees his body covered in horrific scars, dark reminders of his time in prison. Then he changes into the cleanest, most expensive outfit he has owned in years. Just waiting for the state transport to pick him up, the final 1 hour countdown begins. First, he throws out all his old worn-out clothes, shoes, and bedding. Next, he walks over to his desk and picks up a dusty photo frame. Inside is a photo from 12 years ago when he first returned to the family, showing both households. His parents, his younger brother, the adopted son Chen Che, and Liu Ruyan are all smiling in it. This picture used to hold all his hope, but now he slides it out of the frame. He tears it into tiny pieces and drops them into the trash. Honestly, this is low-key heartbreaking. Fighting back tears, he picks up a pen to write on the very last page of his diary. This time, he writes in French, the language his family specifically learned just to please Chen Che. December 10th, 2024, light snow. He simply writes, I am leaving. He writes to his parents, asking them one last question that has haunted him for years. If they hated him so much, why did they post missing ads everywhere to find him back then?
Is it true what people say, that parents can never truly love a child they did not raise?
Does blood really mean nothing to them? Why does it have to be this way? He has seen other reunited families living in absolute bliss, cherishing their returned children.
They say when parents find their biological child, it is actually the moment they lose them all over again.
But for him, being found by his birth parents was the day he lost his family forever. He pours all his years of confusion, pain, and quiet resentment onto the paper. To his younger brother, he writes that since he only ever wanted Chen Che, his wish is granted. From now on, Cheng will only have one brother. Finally, he writes a farewell note to Liu Ruyan.
He addresses her promise about staying together after her fake wedding with his brother.
He writes that he is sorry, but he will not be waiting this time. He wishes them happiness. He finishes the letter by telling her he is gone and they should never meet again. He closes the diary, setting it on the desk right next to his prison medical checkup report.
He leaves the medical paper right on top. And wait, look at what this report actually says.
It clearly states that Ze only has one kidney left. By then, it is already 9 o'clock.
Holding his faded cloth bag, he limps slowly out of the Chen family mansion for the last time. Behind him, the mansion stays brightly lit as the crowd inside continues their loud, happy celebrations. And right across from him, a fleet of black, bulletproof cars is waiting in absolute silence. Without a single second thought, Chen Ze steps toward his new future as the fleet speeds away. They vanish completely into the dark night while the Chen family mansion remains brightly lit. Inside, everyone is laughing and celebrating. Then comes the next morning. Ceremonial cannons blast through the sky, kicking off the grand day. The wedding is starting, and the parents are absolutely beaming with joy. A delicate rose is pinned right on the collar of his custom suit. Meanwhile, Liu Ruyan is plotting with her bridesmaids on where to hide her wedding shoes, so the groom won't find them. Just then,
Chen's mother looks around but can't find Chen Ze anywhere. Frowning, she calls out,
"Where is your big brother? Why hasn't he shown up yet?"
"How can he be late to his own brother's wedding? Who taught him such terrible manners?"
Chen Qing casually replies that he probably just cannot stand seeing Liu Ruyan marry his brother. After all, he liked her for years. Hearing this, Chen's mother gets even more annoyed. "Go get Chen Ze. If he's not here, people are going to start gossiping." The maid nods, but just as she is about to leave,
Chen Ching stops her, telling the staff to go decorate the garden instead.
he offers to go get his big brother, but then pauses to ask about his room. The utility room. Maid Zhang answers. Hearing this, Chen Qing is completely stunned. Actually, everyone freezes. Even Chen's father is completely thrown off. He demands to know why Chen Ze is in a utility room. Maid Zhang just lowers her eyes. She explains that his arrival was so sudden, the madam told him to stay there temporarily. And that temporary stay ended up lasting for 12 long years. Chen's mother instantly frowns. Her excuse is that she wanted to give him a proper room, but simply forgot. Then she complains that he should have spoken up because she is his biological mother.
She asks if she would ever mistreat him, muttering that she has no idea who he takes after.
He is nothing like me. Meanwhile, lounging on the couch in a luxury suit is Chen Che. Chen Che speaks up, saying that even their family utility room is a luxury. It is way better than when he was homeless, so staying there shouldn't be a big deal. Hearing this, Chen Qing feels a sudden pang of guilt, realizing how messed up this sounds. But he keeps quiet, frowning as he walks down to the very end of the hallway. He pushes the door open and a thick cloud of dust instantly swirls into the air. Chen Qing chokes and takes a step back, covering his nose before stepping inside. Piles of broken junk and discarded trash literally cramp up the entire dark, suffocating space. Chen Ze's bed is wedged against some shelves. Honestly, calling it a bed is a massive stretch. It is just a thin wooden board propped on plastic buckets right next to a massive water tank. A rusty old desk lamp sits on top, alongside a worn-out diary. And a stack of papers. This absolute trash heap is literally everything he owned in this house. Chen Qing is completely speechless, utterly frozen, as he forgets to even cover his nose. He never imagined his own biological brother would live like this.
Living in a literal dump inside his own family mansion, this is actually crazy.
The room is so tiny he can see right away that Chen Ze is gone.
But if he isn't here, where on earth did he go? Chen Qing feels a chill.
He walks over to the water tank, looking for any clue Chen Ze might have left behind.
Calling out to his parents, Chen Qing grabs the diary and the stack of papers.
So the older brother, Chen Ze, is nowhere to be found, but he left behind his latest medical report. Just as Father Chen is about to open it, Liu Ruyan's voice echoes from outside. She grumbles that Chen Ze is probably just throwing a tantrum, wondering who spoiled him with such bad habits. Mother Chen calls out for Chen Qing to come outside because the bride is here to pick up the groom, Chen Che. Mother Chen rushes out first, leaving Father Chen with no choice but to follow her. This leaves Chen Qing alone in the room while Liu Ruyan stands in the living room holding a wedding bouquet. Honestly, she does not look happy to be getting married. She immediately scans the room, searching for Chen Ze. Frowning, she asks where Chen Ze is. Of course, Chen Che is instantly annoyed that his brother was her first thought. Feeling bitter, Chen Che plays the victim and puts on a pitiful face. He tells her that Chen Ze probably couldn't bear to see them get married, so he ran away. Mother Chen quickly chimed in, telling Liu Ruyan not to blame him because they failed to raise Chen Ze properly. She tells her not to take it to heart, but hearing this only makes Liu Ruyan incredibly irritated. I mean, she already told him it is just a fake wedding, so why is Chen Ze being so stubborn? Annoyed, she pulls out her phone and shoots Chen Ze a text. She demands to know why he is acting so childishly and asks where he went. But the text just sits there, absolute silence. She stands there waiting, but Chen Ze does not send a single reply. Her face darkens by the second. Meanwhile, Chen Qing walks out and senses the heavy, suffocating tension. Holding the diary and the medical files tightly, he managed to only scan a few pages. But even that quick glance is terrifying. How on earth did Chen Ze's health get so bad? And why is there only one kidney left? It makes zero sense. At this point, Chen Qing realizes he needs to verify if these medical records are actually real. Instead of handing the papers over to his parents, he quietly calls his most trusted assistant. He orders him to secretly dig up everything that happened to Chen Ze during his 7 years in prison. He wants a thorough investigation. Back in the living room, Chen Che asks Liu Ruyan what she is waiting for. Aren't you supposed to be taking me to our wedding? Honestly, Chen Che is so shameless. He steps up to Liu Ruyan to break the suffocating silence. He grabs her arm and says if his brother wants to run away, let him. He is an adult. It is not like he is in any danger out there. Hearing this, Chen Qing and his father both frown. Chen Che genuinely does not care about his brother at all. Liu Ruyan coldly brushes him off, saying they can skip the rest of the ceremonies because a fake marriage does not need all that. She reminds Chen Che that he only wanted to wear a suit and walk into a church with her. Now that they are doing exactly that, he should stop complaining. Chen Che stamps his feet, but she just pulls her hand away. She walks out first. Since this is purely a fake wedding, she did not invite any guests. The entire church is completely empty besides the Chen family and a single priest. Chen Che looks around, realizing this is not the grand wedding he had envisioned. Seeing how utterly pathetic and empty his own wedding is, Chen Che finally snaps. Crying hysterically, he begs Liu Ruyan to forget about his brother. He asks if he is not 1,000,000 times better than that uneducated bastard of a brother. Besides, Chen Ze is an ex-convict who does not deserve her anyway. Liu Ruyan is losing her patience, especially since she is already panicking over Chen Ze being missing. She coldly reminds him that she only agreed to this fake wedding because he threatened to jump off a roof. Now that she has done her part and fulfilled his wish, she is completely done playing along. She is leaving to find Chen Ze, and then she drops a truth bomb that absolutely levels him. She looks him dead in the eye and tells him never to forget that Chen Ze went to prison for him. Everyone in the church goes completely silent. Nobody saw this coming. For Liu Ruyan to bring this up now is wild. Suddenly, Chen Che pulls out a knife and presses it against his throat. He screams that he does not care, demanding to know how he is inferior to Chen Ze. Why do you love him and not me? Did you forget who saved you when you were hurt? I literally gave you my kidney. Seeing this, Mother Chen absolutely loses her mind with fear. She lunges to grab the blade, begging Chen Che not to do anything stupid. Promising to talk to Runyan, she tells everyone else to back off. But Chen Che swings the knife blindly, slashing his own mother's arm in the process.
He just mumbles that he only wants Ruyan, crying about why he can never get his way.
It is all Chen Ze's fault. He blames his brother for everything.
Chen Ze deserves to die. He screams curses like a total lunatic. His hysterical screaming echoes through the church, turning the wedding into absolute chaotic ruins. Honestly, this entire farce is a complete train wreck. Police and ambulances rush to the scene. Liu Ruyan got hurt trying to stop Chen Che.
Now she is sitting in the back of an ambulance, bleeding from her hands.
Medics are wrapping her up, but she does not even seem to feel the physical pain. She frantically calls and texts Chen Ze, typing out that her fake marriage with Chen Che is finally over.
She begs to know where he is and pleads with him to stop being angry.
She asks to find him, claiming she only did all this because Chen Che is his brother. She says she was trying to help him gain some respect in the Chen family.
She wanted his parents to love him, but no matter how many times she texts him,
Chen Ze never replies. At this point, the scene shifts over to the hospital. Mother Chen ignores her own bloody arm and desperately tells the doctor that Chen Che has depression. She tells them he is missing a kidney and has already suffered way too much. She begs them to stitch his neck gently because he is incredibly sensitive to pain. Seeing her frantic state, the nurse pauses and gives her a strange look. Taking off her mask, she gently says she understands her concern as a mother. But the preliminary check is already done. He is perfectly healthy and definitely has both of his kidneys. Mother Chen freezes in total shock. Father Chen frowns deeply. Supporting his wife, he listens closely as the nurse continues.
the nurse repeats that Chen Che only has a minor scratch.
No missing kidney, nothing like that at all. Both kidneys are fully intact, so they can rest easy. He can go home once the scratch is clean. How is that even possible? The realization hits like a truck. Finally, Mother Chen snaps out of it.
She grabs her husband's hand and whispers that they cannot let Liu Ruyan find out yet.
If she knows, she will demand answers, and Chen Che is too unstable for that right now. But Father Chen is actually using his brain here. He asks his wife to think for a second. If Chen Che still has both kidneys, then who actually saved Liu Ruyan's life back then? And then boom, the plot twist hits. The exact same name flashes through both of their minds. Their forgotten, neglected biological son, Chen Ze. Mother Chen instantly stammers that it is impossible. She refuses to believe it, but Father Chen frowns deeply as he looks at the sleeping Chen Che. A sickening feeling washes over him as he realizes how blind they have been. Maybe they never actually knew this son they pampered for 25 years.
When Chen Che was wheeled inside, his parents stayed silent.
Both saw the hesitation in each other's eyes. Meanwhile, over at the Chen Group headquarters, Chen Qing was already back at his office, alone. Being the heir made finding secrets absolute child's play for him. His assistant printed everything out half an hour ago. He brought over the medical checkup reports, matching what Chen Ze left behind, along with official medical records and hospital scans. There were even 2 videos, including one with Chen Ze and Ruyan. The second clip showed Chen Ze getting brutally beaten by inmates in prison. The footage is blurry, but seeing him get tortured like that is heartbreaking. It was a security camera accident, but seeing it made Chen Qing's eyes turn completely red because that was his actual older brother. Even if they did not get along back then, it did not matter. That was still his own blood. How could Chen Ze get bullied like this? Why would anyone dare touch the eldest Chen heir? Didn't Ruyan and his parents already pull strings inside to protect him? And why did Chen Ze look so incredibly frail and weak?
He and Ruyan had literally paid people to send tons of supplies to him.
Questions swirled in his head as Cheng Qing immediately recalled his assistant.
"Keep digging," he ordered. "Find out exactly why they were brutalizing my brother." "Who gave them the audacity?" The assistant nodded quickly.
He took the order and left. Once alone, Chen Qing collapsed hopelessly into his chair. Chen Ze was missing a kidney.
His leg was crippled, and his body was covered in deep scars.
Closing his eyes, Cheng Qing could only think of what he discovered this morning. That dusty storage room where Chen Ze lived for 12 whole years. He opened his eyes and stared at the worn-out, cheap diary.
Chen Qing suddenly realized this old book was a straight-up Pandora's box.
Trust me, what is inside is about to completely shatter their entire world. Just like the massive stack of medical records, he had to muster up the courage to finally flip open the first page. December 13th, 2012. I do not know why, but it feels like Mom, Dad, and my brothers are not actually happy that I came home, especially the younger one, Che. The way he looks at me is pretty weird, but maybe I am just overthinking. I will try hard to fit into this family and be a good brother and son. Another 2 hours fly by before Chen Qing finally reaches the very last page. Seeing a whole page written in French completely shattered his composure. Chen Ze actually knew French this whole time? That meant every single bad thing they said behind his back, he understood every word. Reading the line saying he only has one brother left, his hands start shaking. It hits him that Chen Ze was not just acting out for attention. He was really gone, escaping a cold house that never felt like home. A family that never treated him like one. Chen Qing is utterly broken by these truths, and any doubts he had are gone. After reading this diary, he starts questioning if those reports were even real. He is completely losing it. Like, has his entire life been a giant lie? Chen Che played them all so well. Chen Qing literally feels a chill down his spine. He grabs his phone to call Liu Ruyan, especially since Chen Ze left a message. There is a specific paragraph meant just for her, but right as he is about to dial, Chen Qing hesitates. He knows Ruyan loved his big brother, and now that Chen Ze is gone, seeing this diary would absolutely shatter her sanity and make her lose all control. After thinking it over, Chen Qing decides to head straight to the hospital first. Some truths are better sorted out among the Chen family before anyone else gets involved. It is just safer to handle this privately. By now, it is already almost 8 p.m. So Qing plans to go the next morning, but meanwhile, things are getting wild. Over at the Liu Villa, Ruyan is frantically spamming Chen Ze's phone number. First, it just rings out, but then boom, the number is completely disconnected. Chen Ze deleted his number. Realizing this, Ruyan begins to absolutely panic. She gets this sinking feeling that she has lost something incredibly important to her. Something she can never, ever get back. Honestly, this is low-key heartbreaking to watch. Staring at the empty chat with zero replies, her face turns completely pale. She calls her private contacts, demanding they use every resource to track him down. No matter the cost, even if they have to tear the entire city apart. Find Chen Ze. Hangs up the phone, completely exhausted. Ruyan just sits there in the pitch-black room, unable to stop shaking. An entire night without sleep? Fast forward to 8 a.m. the next morning. Chen Qing rushes to the hospital, but the nurse drops a massive bombshell. His parents already checked his brother out and headed back home. With no other choice, Chen Qing heads back to the family mansion. The whole place has been cleared out, looking like the wedding never happened. The staff look absolutely stressed, and the moment they spot Chen Qing, they run over. They treat him like a savior, begging him to go inside right away. The second brother is throwing a massive tantrum, threatening to burn down Chen Ze's room. Chen Qing's face drops. Right then, his mother runs up, relieved he's back. She begs him to calm his brother down. Standing outside the dusty storage room, Mother Chen's eyes are completely bloodshot from crying her heart out. Chen Qing stays silent, slowly pulling out the diary. Mom, Dad, look at this. You both need to read the diary that Big Brother left behind. Flip to the last page. Turns out he knew French. Every single toxic thing we said, he understood every single word. The silence in the room is heavy. His parents freeze in pure shock. Mother Chen stammers that he never studied languages. He never showed any sign of it. Father Chen snatches the book away. Reading it line by line, Chen Qing purses his lips, watching them. He turns around and heads toward the storage room, which was Chen Ze's bedroom. Inside, Chen Che has already absolutely trashed almost everything in sight. Honestly, Chen Ze barely owned anything to begin with. Seeing his brother lose his mind? Chen Qing frowns and drops the ultimate question. Second brother, that kidney donation for Ruyan? It wasn't actually you, was it? The moment those words leave his mouth, Chen Che completely freezes mid-tantrum. Oh man, his reaction says it all. Chen Qing felt something collapse deep inside. A person's subconscious reaction just doesn't lie.
He finally realized how badly they had all misjudged Chen Ze.
Looking at Chen Che, Chen Qing's eyes filled with pure disappointment. Second brother, just how many lies have you told us?
Why did you intercept the living expenses our parents in finance sent to Big Brother? Why did you pay people to torture Big Brother in prison, and why did you lie?
Saying you solved that issue for Ryan? 3 brutal questions in a row. The questions instantly killed Chen Che's crazy momentum. He stared at his little brother.
What are you even talking about? Just then,
the Chen parents finished reading the diary and walked over. Yes, Qing!
What is all this about? We do not understand.
Chen Qing sighed, pulling medical reports and case histories from his bag. Then he called his assistant.
5 minutes later, the assistant walked in with prison guards and the company accountant.
A tough-looking thug followed them in, but the real shocker was who came next. Cold as ice, Liu Ruyan entered and swept her gaze over the entire Chen family.
Finally locking onto Chen Che, she said that as Zi's fiancé,
she had every right to know. Chen Che's fake composure shattered, his face turning ghostly pale. His lips trembled. Ruyan, what truth?
I do not understand what you all are saying today.
Are you still refusing to tell the truth? Chen Qing raised his voice.
Disappointment poured out of him. I mean, how many times did you frame your own brother?
How many of your crimes did he take the fall for? Do I have to list them one by one? Chen Che took a sharp step back. Nearly collapsing to the floor, his eyes turned red.
He cried, "Qing, I am your brother."
How can you talk to me like this? Chen Qing sneered. Did you forget?
Chen Ze is my big brother, my actual flesh and blood.
Hearing this, Chen Che went completely white.
That word, biological, must have stung because he clutched his chest. Gasping for air, the mother snapped.
Are you trying to kill your second brother? Honestly, her bias is crazy.
Chen mother's motherly bias flared. Chen Qing was speechless. Mom, you are still defending him? Do you even know how much evil he has done? Seriously, who is your real son here? Slamming down the medical records, he shouted, Big Brother only has 1 kidney. He was the one who matched and successfully donated his kidney to Sister Ruyan 7 years ago. In prison for 7 years, Big Brother nearly died several times. All because of brutal beatings. He lived with us for 12 years, and not one of us ever showed him love, blaming him instead because of Second Brother's lies.
We hated him, but Second Brother's depression was fake? The audacity is actually crazy.
With that, Chen Qing pulls out the ultimate evidence to ruin Chen Che. A physical report proving Chen Che actually has both of his kidneys.
And a complete mental health report proving his mind is absolutely fine.
Suddenly, Liu Ruyan spoke up. Liu Ruyan demands Chen Che's medical report. Chen Qing's hands are shaking. She passes the papers to Liu Ruyan while Chen Che completely collapses to the floor. CT scans, X-rays, and scattered pathology photos.
Page after page, the injuries get more horrific. This is low-key heartbreaking.
Liu Ruyan's face darkens. There is even a full-body photo of Chen Ze. His arms, stomach, back, and thighs. Every single inch of exposed skin is covered in deep, horrific scars. All of this from being brutally tortured in prison. Seeing this, the cold-faced Liu Ruyan freezes. Her calm facade completely shatters in an instant. She storms over. Her eyes are pure ice. Tell me, what did you do to him? What did you do to Chen Ze? She has completely lost her mind, her eyes turning bloodshot with pure rage. Her heart is literally in pieces. Why, Chen Che, why did you do this to him? Even now, Chen Che plays the victim, looking at his stunned mother. Mom, he cries. It hurts so much. But the next second, Chen Qing steps right in front of their mother, blocking his entire view.
Stop acting pitiful, she snaps. We need the truth.
You exploited Mom's love for years. Forcing Mom to constantly hurt her own biological son? Chen Qing closes her eyes. Thinking back to how their family treated Chen Che all these years, she shudders. So heartless. You've condemned us to live in crushing regret forever. Chen Che ignores her, looking at his father. Dad, you always loved me. Chen Fu grips the diary. The father avoids his gaze. In that second, Chen Che knows he's lost.
His plot armor is officially gone. He sneers. I just wanted Chen Ze dead, nothing more.
Liu Ruyan growls.
She looks like a demon. Tell me everything you did.
He flinches, trembling.
Chen Fu steps in. Ruyan, I will give you an explanation. But first, you need to read what Chen Ze wrote. Hearing his name, her murderous aura drops slightly.
She quietly takes the diary and flips to the final page.
Chen Ze's neat handwriting catches her eye. Sorry, I won't wait this time.
Be happy with Chen Che. Goodbye.
Let's never meet again. She checks the date. December 10th, 2024, the day she publicly kissed Chen Che.
He was done. He chose to let go.
She was completely blind, arrogantly believing they still had a future together. Regret completely crushes her as she presses the diary to her chest.
Seeing this cold boss completely break down hits different. The ruthless corporate queen who can make or break empires with a word.
She looks utterly broken. The silence in the room is heavy.
Everyone can clearly see a single tear of pure regret rolling down Liu Ruyan's face.
Ruyan, please listen to me. Let me explain. It was not on purpose.
Chen Che is putting on a masterclass in crying for sympathy, but Liu Ruyan is completely unfazed now.
Not on purpose? Then who did it on purpose? Was it Chen Ze or was it me? Her rage at being deceived and cast aside completely takes over. The crushing regret regarding Chen Ze completely sweeps over Liu Ruyan, and her heart aches terribly. She has zero of her usual warmth left for Chen Che as she coldly addresses him.
I just cannot understand why you would do this, she mutters, refusing to even look at him. You literally had everything. The entire Chen family always favored you.
Everyone treated Chen Ze like a complete outsider, so even after he returned, your status was never threatened at all. But Chen Che snaps back. Did he really not affect you? Realizing his pitiful act is useless, Chen Che drops the mask, and honestly, his transition is wild.
Ruyan, did Chen Ze's return really not affect you? Did it not destroy my place in your heart?
He stares at her with sheer desolation, and his question hits Liu Ruyan like a truck.
She instantly freezes in place, and seeing her reaction, Chen Che lets out a bitter laugh, saying, "See, you realized at the exact moment I brought it up. When Chen Ze came back, Mom and Dad stayed the same, but you completely changed. At first, I tried to believe you just found him novel, like a shiny new toy. But then the way you looked at him started shifting, his voice now dripping with pure hatred. Ruyan, when Chen Ze squeezed his way between us, your focus slowly leaned toward him.
And you did not even notice it. How was I supposed to stay calm?
How could I not hate him? Large tears streamed down Chen Che's face. I had to watch him captivate you so effortlessly, without even trying. I felt a massive wave of panic if you, who spent the most time with him, ended up unconsciously siding with him. Wouldn't Mom, Dad, and our little brother do the exact same thing? That is why I had to force him out, make him vanish from our lives forever. But just making him disappear was not enough. I had to utterly ruin him. I had to destroy his reputation in all of your minds, turn him into a complete snake. A total irredeemable villain. Hearing this confession, Liu Ruyan's shock turns into deep disappointment as she asks when he became such a monster. How did I become like this? Chen Che laughs and cries at the same time. It is like he is just parroting her words, or maybe questioning his own twisted soul. He suddenly snaps his head up, screaming at the top of his lungs. It is all because of that stray Chen Ze. Why did he even have to come back? The moment he returned, you changed. His existence is just a constant reminder to me that I am just a fake, a total and absolute clown. Second brother, how could you think like that? Chen Qing finally speaks up. Mom, Dad, and I have always stood by your side. But how could you do something this horrible? His eyes instantly turn red. We trusted you so much and treated you so well. How could you be this kind of person? Something about those words triggers Chen Che. He looks at his devastated younger brother.
And instead of feeling guilty, this guy gets a twisted rush of satisfaction. Talk about final boss energy.
The ultimate thrill of playing everyone like a fiddle. He wipes the tears from his face. And then smirks coldly, saying he has always been this kind of person. I am not like the rest of you fools in the Chen family, acting so incredibly naive and kind. I was born evil. Are you happy?
Nobody ever said you were not a Chen, Chen Qing snaps. Even after Chen Ze returned, we still treated you like our closest family.
He did not even want to take anything from you, so how could you do this?
Chen Qing stares at his pale but still handsome brother. For years, both families spoiled him rotten.
This was the guy they pampered, making Chen Qing flash back to 1 month ago. His first glimpse of Chen Ze at the mansion, emaciated, just skin and bones. Barely breathing, he looked so close to death. This was his actual blood brother, whom they framed and sent to prison for 7 years. His brother had suffered absolute hell. Chen Qing walks right up to Chen Che. How can you be this greedy?
Chen Ze was surviving on the streets with nowhere to call home.
You already had everything, and yet you still tried to utterly destroy him the moment he returned.
He laughs bitterly, calling the family absolute fools for abandoning their own biological son.
Admitting he threw away his own brother, too. They were all so blind. Hearing this, a sharp pain crushes her chest.
If only she could go back 7 years and stop this nightmare from happening. But there are no do-overs in life. The trauma they inflicted on Chen Ze can never be erased. Suddenly, a loud smack echoes through the room as Chen Che clutches his burning cheek. He looks up in absolute shock at his father, Chen Fu. The father's eyes are filled with pure disgust as a wave of regret washes over him. This slap was honestly too merciful. Chen Fu looks at Chen Che with cold detachment. "Do not call me father," he says, his voice freezing cold. "You do not deserve it." With bloodshot eyes, Chen Fu asks if he remembers what he just said. "You claimed you are not a Chen." "Fine, let it be that way. We will pay back what we owe Chen Ze, and you will pay your own debt." Every word cuts deep, because Chen Fu is hurting just as much. The entire room goes dead silent as Chen Qing closes his eyes in pain. Silent tears stream down his face as he looks at Chen Che. "You are a thief. You are a criminal, and I will never forgive you." With that, he turns away. He storms out of this suffocating house. Stumbling on his way out, his body is weak from emotional shock. Honestly, who could accept this? Finding out the person you always protected is actually evil. What about Chen Ze, the one they falsely accused and hated for years? The sheer agony and despair he went through is honestly unfathomable. Chen Qing cannot bear to think about it. Meanwhile, Chen Che stands there like a statue. His face flushes red with humiliation. Those words hurt worse than any physical slap. Being called a thief by his own brother is the ultimate disgrace. Being called a thief by his own brother is the ultimate disgrace. Desperate, Chen Che begs. Her ruthless gaze freezes him instantly. She looks at him with absolute disgust. With a voice like ice, she tells him he has no right to speak her name. He tries to plead, asking if one mistake really ruins everything they had. Still not getting it? This guy is honestly completely delusional.
Chen Che whines that he and Liu Ruyan grew up together.
All over some outsider like Chen Ze and a few mistakes? He asks if she is really throwing away their entire childhood. Why can't she just forgive him? The audacity of this guy is unreal. He acts like he actually wants an answer, making Liu Ruyan sneer.
Even now, she realizes he still does not get it.
He still thinks ruining a life is just some minor slip-up. Chen Che literally says Chen Ze only did 7 years in prison. With a straight face, he shrugs, while she asks if he knows the prison torture. Chen Ze was covered in scars, but the villain just says, "So what?" He deserved it for coming back. Chen Che finally snaps, admitting he faked everything. He admits he ordered the torture because he wanted his brother dead. But he had to play nice so everyone would not hate him. He did not want to become the bad guy in her eyes. Then, this clown actually tries to reach out and hug her. But guess what? A loud crack echoes through the room.
Liu Ruyan grabs his wrist with absolute rage and snaps his bones. That is wild.
As the villain screams in agony, we cut to a different scene. High in the clouds, our boy Chen Ze wakes up and slides open the window.
Staring into the dark sky, he remembers dreaming of his family.
And of course, the woman he loved for years, Liu Ruyan. He remembers them blaming him, asking why he even came back. Liu Ruyan's voice echoes, claiming she only had a fake marriage with Chen Che. Honestly, this is low-key heartbreaking. They never loved or believed him. The gloomy, gray sky outside perfectly matches his silent tears. But thankfully, the flight announcement cuts through the heavy mood. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be landing in 5 minutes. Welcome to Dominica, where the ground temperature is 20 degrees. As the plane descends, Chen Ze takes a deep breath. He lets go of his painful past and looks at the bright city lights. Smiling to himself, he is ready to start his brand new life here. A cheerful girl walks up with her phone, asking if he is Mr. Jiang. She is a head shorter than him, rocking a healthy, sun-kissed tan. With a bright, pearly white smile, she introduces herself as Andy. Chen Ze nods, making her smile even wider. She says the landlord sent her to pick up the new researcher. Since he only has a single backpack, she just walks alongside him.
She keeps a polite, respectful distance as they head out. She explains Dominica is small, with only 80,000 people.
Since it is his first time, the landlord wanted to ensure he was safe. That is why she came, mentioning she actually rents a place there too. She lives right downstairs, she says, leading him out of the airport. Our boy is starting fresh here on a completely legal fast-track passport. During the process, he was able to wipe his old identity completely. From now on, his official new name is Yang Xingzong. Basically, everything about Chen Ze in this current war has been completely and utterly erased, leaving only himself behind. No one will ever know Jiang Xingzhou was actually Chen Ze. His prison guard buddy helped him secure this sweet attic room, where he can literally see the ocean and a volcano. He thanks the landlord with a smile, offering a home-cooked Chinese dinner.
Andy gets so hyped she almost starts jumping for joy.
She admits they haven't had real Chinese food in forever.
Honestly, Chinese cuisine is easily the best in the world. She shyly admits she can't handle spice, but Chen Ze shrugs it off.
He promises to make mild dishes for this sweet, simple girl. Chen Ze is being incredibly understanding, and she's absolutely thrilled. She suggests cooking a few times a week might slash his rent by 1/4. Maybe even half, Andy adds, absolutely beaming with excitement. Seeing her freckled face light up low-key cures Chen Ze's depression. It's just the beginning, but his new life actually feels hopeful. Meanwhile, back home, Liu Ruyan is tossing and turning all night. Every single time she tries to close her eyes, she fails. She just sees a sickly, skin and bones Chen Ze haunting her dreams. He glares at her with dark, nasty bruises still on his neck. His eyes hold zero warmth or love, and she can't handle it. No, she thinks, how could he look at her like that? That cold, distant stare hurts, but she finally knows the truth. In the dream, she begs him, admitting she knows everything she ruined.
A woman who never bows down is now desperately, clumsily apologizing.
But Chen Ze just coldly cuts her off. So what? You're sorry? Does one apology wipe away 7 years of torture and slander? He scoffs, asking if he should thank her for showing mercy. Liu Ruyan freezes, a sharp, unhealing pain stabbing through her chest. No, she stammers. She knows he suffered a truly massive injustice. But she begs him for a chance to make things right. Chen Ze laughs like he just heard the most ridiculous joke. Can someone like her even atone? His eyes overflow with disgust. He spits out that he hates her and will never forgive her. That curse-like promise jolts Liu Ruyan awake, gasping for air. It is still the dead of night, pitch black outside.
Suddenly, her phone rings. It's a late-night call from Li Keizu.
Frowning, she picks up to hear his eerily calm voice.
He casually reports that the second young master, Chen Che, jumped.
Is he dead? She asks, rubbing her temples in annoyance. She only cares about the result, but no, the firefighters arrived. They already had a massive rescue cushion waiting down below. Honestly, the spoiled brat never actually planned on dying anyway.
Realizing he overstepped, Li Keiju quickly apologizes for his bluntness.
He just cannot accept how horribly Chen Che treated Chen Ze. So I will control my emotions from now on. There will not be a next time.
Back then, Liu Ruyan would have completely lost her mind.
She would have fired Assistant Li right then, but now she knows the truth. Her feelings toward Chen Che have completely flipped upside down. His loyalty pledge does not even matter, and yet for some reason, she suddenly remembers Chen Ze's first hospital visit after his return. He spent so long buried in those pale, sterile hospital sheets. She stood right by his bed the entire time, just watching him in silence. Back then, her heart overflowed with love. So much pain for him, she still remembers. Mist covered the window glass as Chen Ze woke from a nightmare and smiled. He asked if she remembered their first meeting on that snowy day. Remembering that, Liu Ruyan can only smile bitterly. She wishes she could turn back time, hold him tight, and say yes. Of course she remembers. She could never forget him. She looks out the window. Tonight, the snow is still falling.
Secretary Li tells her the car is ready and the family wants her there. His voice snaps her back to reality. The call was never disconnected.
She eventually heads to the sanatorium, but the second she reaches his room,
Chen Che comes crawling to her, crying his fake eyes out. Love to see it.
he weeps and asks how she could possibly treat him like this. That desperate accusation sounds sickeningly familiar. It is just like her old nightmares. A shivering, broken Chen Ze had once asked her the same thing, asking how she could do this. But did Chen Ze cry back then? Did he ever shed tears? Never. She stands frozen, searching her memory. She thinks back over those long 7 years. From seeing him at the prison gates to him collapsing at her house. Chen Ze never cried, not once. She looks down at Chen Che. Liu Ruyan stares down at Chen Che, who looks like a ghost after just one night. Her lips curl into a cold smile. She tells him she has not even started yet. That icy line freezes him solid. Talk about a reality check. He looks up in absolute terror. She calmly says she investigated Chen Ze. She checked his prison medical records and found horrifying orders signed in her name. Orders to disfigure Chen Ze and make him quietly disappear in solitary. Horrible things like that. Liu Ruyan silently stares into his eyes.
She asks if he did this too. Chen Che grits his trembling teeth.
He slowly squeaks out a yes. Hearing that single word confirms everything. Her heart completely sinks. Honestly, this next realization is low-key heartbreaking. She finally understands why Chen Ze was always flinching in pure terror. He was terrified of the violence. For 7 years, the thugs beating him would always tell him that someone on the outside wanted him dead. Chen Che begs that he will change. He asks where Chen Ze is. He offers to kneel and beg for forgiveness as her expression grows icy cold. Clasping his hands, he begs for mercy, but kneeling will not fix this. Apologies mean nothing now. Chen Ze has vanished, and nobody knows where he is. Nobody can ever make up for the damage done to him, and Liu Ruyan suddenly smiles. He's feeling pure bitterness deep down, his heart aching like crazy. He wants nothing more than to travel back in time and kill his brain-dead self from 7 years ago. Seeing that Liu Ruyan stays completely silent, Chen Che starts absolutely panicking out of fear.
She warns him that he'll have to pay for his sins, just as his parents and brother Chen Qing arrive. Staring at the son they once pampered the most, now bawling his eyes out on the floor.
His mother has absolutely no words for this, especially after Chen Qing already spilled the whole truth to them yesterday. When she heard everything, Chen's mother actually passed out multiple times from the shock. Even his father, who quit smoking over 10 years ago, is sitting there completely broken and lighting up. Why would you do this, Ah-che? That's the only question left after finding out the truth. Seriously, he had it all and threw it away. Why would he do this? Meanwhile, Chen Ze had absolutely nothing, and that thought finally makes Chen Che fall silent. He looks up at his parents and Chen Qing, suddenly letting out a strangely calm laugh. So what if you raised me for over 10 years, he thinks? He is the one with the bloodline. For all these years, the only thing that kept him trapped was that single concept of bloodline. His mother cries out that blood ties are something you can't beat, screaming at him that he was an absolute fool for what he did. Thumping her chest in agony, she realized that she was just as foolish as him. "We were all wrong," she sobbed, as things have gone too far. Completely heartbroken, she looks up at Liu Ruyan and desperately asks, "What about Chen Ze?" Thumping her chest again, she asks if anyone has actually gone out to look for him. As regret consumes her, Chen's father and Chen Qing also look incredibly stressed out over the situation. Clearly, they haven't slept a wink either, constantly thinking about her lost son. She cries that she actually drove her own biological son away from his own home. She can only wonder how disappointed and hateful Chen Ze must feel toward her now. She loved him so much when he was born, and when he went missing, she literally wanted to die. Why did she treat him so horribly? She feels like she is a complete monster. Sobbing uncontrollably, she screams that she doesn't deserve to be a mother. Chen's father holds her up, staying dead silent for a very long time. Finally, he looks up and tells Ruyan that he and Qing are using all their family connections to search. They are trying to find Ze, knowing that she is also desperately searching for him. He begs her, pleading that if she gets any updates on his location, please tell him. Asking if she could let them know, his father actually starts to bow down in desperation. Liu Ruyan quickly stops him, saying that finding Ze is her duty anyway. The father nods, repeating that they must know because the family needs to pay him back for everything they did. It doesn't matter if he accepts their apology or ever forgives them. "We have to pay him back," his mother mutters over and over. Throughout this entire painful ordeal, neither parent gives Chen Che a single glance, and Chen Qing finally speaks up. Supporting his completely collapsing mother, Chen Qing makes it clear that anyone who did wrong must face justice. With bloodshot eyes, he declares that Chen Che brought all of this on himself. He wants the law to handle it. Finally, the payoff we wanted, and Chen Che completely loses it. He screams out to his parents and brother, asking how they could do this to him. He begs them, crying that his name is Chen and he is their real family. He screams out, asking if they didn't actually love him for the past 20-plus years they spent together. Turning to his last hope, he begs Ruyan to save him. He swears he will apologize to Chen Ze, even kneeling and kowtowing if she wants. Chen Che has completely lost it, groveling on his knees and grabbing at Liu Ruyan's pants. Liu Ruyan coldly steps back, so he tries to grab his adoptive parents instead. But they back away too. Even his soft-hearted adoptive mother is totally done. She looks at the boy she raised for over 20 years with pure disappointment. Gee, begging won't save you now. Karma always catches up. You lived Ze's life for decades, and now it's time to pay the debt. Nobody is letting you off this time. You're paying for everything. Wait, what? Hearing this, Chen Che's mind goes completely blank. Panic hits him like a truck. Dad! Mom! Chen Che lunges at the family, desperately trying to grab onto someone. But he misses completely as the family assistant subtly blocks him. How can you do this to me? I can't go to jail. Why should I be locked up? Chen Che shakes his head in absolute denial. He turns his begging eyes toward his adoptive father. Please say something, Dad. He used to be the most spoiled kid in the house. Back then, a few tears and some whining would get him anything. Enough, Father Chen roars. Those minor mistakes were tolerated before. But now you literally poisoned your own brother and weaponized our love. You played us like fools, so stop pretending to be the victim. Father Chen's face is filled with pure disgust and regret. Even after Chen Ze returned, they never ignored him for being biological. They actually coddled the fake son just to keep him happy. They even cold-shouldered the real son, but this guy still wasn't satisfied. How could he commit such a sickening crime? He never expected to be played by the kid he raised for 27 years. Honestly, the old man is losing his mind with rage right now, and I'm totally here for it. From now on, the Chen family has officially disowned this heartless monster. Those 27 years? Just consider it food thrown to a stray dog. He orders the butler to throw his trash out. Chen Che is officially dead to them. Chen Che just stands there, totally frozen. He can't believe how fast they turned on him. Fine, blame me for everything. You guys never actually cared about your real son anyway. Is it really all my fault? You were just
blind and stupid.
This is your own fault. You deserved to be fooled.
And Chen Ze got exactly what he deserved. Chen Che screams.
Smack! A brutal slap lands right on his face. And it's actually his doting mother. Her eyes are bloodshot as she cries. We failed to raise you right.
Now we must atone for our mistakes, and you will pay for yours.
Ms. Liu, I'm leaving these matters to you while we search. We will do everything we can to make things right.
Though completely heartbroken, she forces herself to stand tall.
Once the family leaves, only Liu Ruyan and the pathetic trash are left. I know you want to live, so don't even think about faking suicide.
Or trying to pull some cheap stunts to get attention.
Nobody is falling for your act anymore. Now start confessing what you did to Aze.
Spill every single detail, Liu Ruyan demands, staring coldly at Chen Che.
Do that, and I might just consider making your prison life a little easier.
Half an hour later, she slowly walks out of the ward.
And in the recording, Chen Che finally confesses every single horrible thing he did to Chen Ze. Hearing the list of his crimes, Liu Ruyan feels her heart completely tearing apart. She cannot even imagine how Chen Ze managed to survive all that torment completely alone. Lately, the city has been trapped in endless snow, and she reaches out as snowflakes melt in her hand.
Where on earth are you now, Chen Ze? She whispers. And honestly, it is too little, too late.
Meanwhile, far away in Dominica, our main character Chen Ze is sitting out on a sunny balcony. Feeling the warm sea breeze, he stares at the sparkling golden ocean, completely lost in thought. He finally stands up, walks inside, and pulls out his old paints and canvas. Back in the orphanage, he actually spent nearly 10 years studying art under the director. Before the director passed, those years were tough financially, but they were still his happiest. It was way better than the toxic Chen family. But suddenly, his phone buzzes with a new text. It is from his prison guard buddy, Officer Chen, asking how he is and warning him that people are searching. He promises he is keeping quiet, and Chen Ze texts back saying he is doing great. You should totally visit sometime, he writes, since the ocean here is absolutely beautiful. He mentions the nearby volcano and how he's just living a simple, peaceful life now. Finding his true peace at last, Chen Ze sends the reply to his old friend. But to his surprise, despite the 12-hour time difference, Officer Chen replies almost instantly. That is awesome. I am genuinely happy for you, and I just wanted to check in. He warns him again that they are looking for him, but adds a sweet reminder to not reply. Because honestly, the more they talk, the easier it is for others to track him down. Now that Chen Ze has finally restarted his life, he deserves to be left alone. At least, that is exactly what the loyal Officer Chen is thinking. Reading those caring words, Chen Ze smiles, deeply feeling his friend's warm intentions. Seriously, during those 7 brutal years in Qisong prison, if it was not for Officer Chen's help, Chen Ze would have easily died 1,000 times over, and he will never forget that. Officer Chen had been demoted there, and back then, these two lost souls just kept each other sane. They showed each other genuine kindness when they both needed it the most. Xin Zhao, I had no idea you were such a great artist, the landlady calls out while drying fruit. Seeing him in front of his easel, Chen Ze just humbly smiles and says he is only doodling. And honestly, he is not just being modest. His skills are genuinely rusty. Since returning to the Chen family, he never touched a brush, especially during those 7 hellish years. Oh, stop it. What do you mean it is bad? I think it looks absolutely wonderful. The sky and ocean are so pretty, so if you have time, you should paint one for me. I will hang it right in my dining room, the landlady says with a warm chuckle. Faced with such blunt, genuine praise, Chen Ze feels a little flustered, but incredibly happy. Shinjo, no matter what your past was like, the fact that you are here now is what matters. It means you are a brand new person, and you can live a completely brand new life. Do not let the past drag you down, or you will just end up hurting yourself. It will only make you suffer, she says, her voice incredibly warm and motherly. Her weathered hand gently reaches out, stroking the top of Chen Ze's head with pure affection. A faint, soothing scent of chamomile drifts from her, feeling like a warm blanket. Looking up at this kind, half-Chinese, half-American woman, Chen Ze feels his eyes watering. Suddenly, his eyes start to sting, and he gets this sudden urge to cry.
I mean, after all these years of facing absolute hell?
Whether in body or soul, he never cried. The landlord shouts, "Come down when you finish painting!"
I will make you some fruit tea. The landlord does not notice his teary eyes.
She just smiles warmly, and Chen Ze says, "Okay, let us have hot pot tonight then."
We should invite Andy, too. Chen Ze smiles softly. He manages to hold back his tears, feeling so lucky here in Dominica. To immediately cross paths with such amazingly kind people like his landlord and Andy.
Maybe fate is finally being kind to him. Plus, what the landlord said earlier
really struck a chord in his heart. If you choose to start over,
you cannot let the past drag you down mentally or physically.
After finishing his ocean painting, Chen Ze decides to find a local tattoo shop.
He wants to cover that scar Liu Ruyan left on his waist 9 years ago.
It should not cling to his skin anymore. Chen Ze sits before a white canvas, carefully sketching a gorgeous butterfly about to fly before humming a song on his way to the shop. The artist is just 18, but her skills are actually insane.
When Chen Ze finally looks in the mirror and sees the brand new butterfly,
it feels like a long brewing storm has finally erupted in his heart.
It is the gorgeous Morpho Helena, the most beautiful butterfly, completely replacing that winding scar forever. This piece will live on his waist forever, looking incredibly lifelike.
The design is absolutely dreamlike. If you ever need more, come back to me next time. This beauty really suits you.
Beautiful. Chen Ze is completely stunned.
He has not heard that word describe him in a very long time. Thank you. I will come back if needed. Your skills are amazing. I will definitely recommend you to my friends as well. Chen Ze flashes the young girl a bright smile, answering her in fluent English. As he steps out of the shop, the wind chimes on the revolving door ring, making a sweet sound as they collide. Chen Ze takes one last look back, almost seeing a blurry version of his past self waving goodbye to him. Goodbye, he whispers silently. From now on, he will only move forward, never looking back again. Just like that, years begin to fly by. Before we even know it, 6 whole years pass in a flash. Talk about pacing. Yet Liu Ruyan and the Chen family still have absolutely zero clues about his whereabouts. Honestly, it proves that no matter how insanely powerful these two families are, if someone truly wants to vanish from the face of the earth, you cannot find them. And besides, Chen Ze was secretly taken away by the National Research Institute anyway. Over at the Liu Group headquarters, Liu Ruyan has visibly lost a ton of weight. Suddenly, her phone rings. Since it is directly to her private office, a ring here means either they found Chen Ze or the prison is calling. She desperately prays for Chen Ze. Rubbing her tired temples, she picks up. The voice on the line says, "Miss Liu." The second young master, Chen Che, is completely losing it, acting crazy every single day. He's even attacking people now, so the prison doctor suggests sending him to a mental asylum. The warden asks cautiously, but Liu Ruyan just wonders if he is faking it again.
she is incredibly impatient, since Chen Che already pulled this crazy stunt 2 years ago. Classic villain behavior.
This is for real. I had the royal doctors run a full checkup on.
The second young master, Chen Che. The warden just replies with a cold fine. I will send a car to pick him up. She hangs up right after. Liu Ruyan cuts the call. For 6 years, she had people in prison get Chen Che some special treatment. Whatever torture Chen Ze had to suffer in the past, Chen Che had to feel it too. Honestly, the family did not care. It is like they completely gave up on Chen Che as a son after what went down 6 years ago. Talk about cold-blooded. Honestly, even Chen Ze would probably feel bad hearing this. Right now, Liu Ruyan is just staring at a photo of Chen Ze. He looks so pitifully thin here. Crumpled clothes, blank expression. She desperately wonders where he is. Only when everyone suffers like he did can they even begin to apologize. But with him gone, how is she supposed to make up for all the pain? She traces his face in the picture, drowning in a wave of pure regret and loneliness. Meanwhile, Chen Ze is already back, having wrapped up his secret state mission early. He finished his time with the National Research Institute and is finally free to do his own thing. So he gets back to his art. This time around, he is actually making a comeback with the legendary art manager, Miss Luo Yu.
That is right. Our boy is actually a rising star in the art world now.
His paintings sell for at least $5,000. The moment his flight lands, Officer Chen is right there waiting for him. Hey, it has been half a year.
You look a bit tan, Officer Chen teases him.
This is a healthy golden tan, Chen Ze jokingly fires back.
And yeah, he really did get tan. After Miss Luo Yu discovered him painting on the streets half a year ago,
he spent tons of time out at sea, the ocean.
And even volcanoes, his paintings of nature always have this incredibly peaceful vibe.
It is so raw and mysterious. I have to hit a banquet tonight? But let us grab dinner tomorrow, Chen Ze says as they head out.
Officer Chen smiles, feeling so relieved. Turns out time really does heal all wounds. In just a few months, Chen Ze has completely transformed himself. Though maybe we should call him Master Artist now. Cut to the luxury hotel in Qingzhou, where Liu Ruyan was invited by business partners to attend a welcome party for some hot new artist. But here is the crazy part. The absolute moment she locks eyes with the star of the night, her champagne glass slips and shatters.
Glass flies everywhere. She is literally frozen, thinking she must be hallucinating.
It is Chen Ze. She does not even dare to blink. Ms. Luo Yu spots the intense staring and asks her client Xingzhou if he knows this woman. Not at all, Chen Ze says slowly, not even bothering to look her way. Hearing this cold answer, Liu Ruyan instinctively tries to take a step forward, but holds herself back. I am Liu Ruyan, and you are Chen Ze. How could he not know her? But Chen Ze just tilts his chin up, looking incredibly cold and aloof. Miss, you have the wrong person. My name is Zhang. Her worst nightmare just became reality, and Liu Ruyan feels a sudden chill down her spine.
Because his expression is completely calm. That total stranger look in his eyes is terrifyingly real.
Clenching her fists, she apologizes. He just looks too much like her old friend.
She made a mistake, but honestly, anyone would be shaken after all these years.
Think about this. The first apology our main character ever gets happens right here of all places.
Chen Ze just smiles slightly at Liu Ruyan. Did he hate her? Of course he did. He hated her blindness to the truth, hated that she took his heart and his kidney.
Repaying his love with 7 years of living hell. But honestly, that is in the past. So this apology does not even matter anymore. No worries, Miss Liu, your dress is wet. Let the staff show you to the fitting room. Chen Ze just nods politely.
Acting all understanding, he forgives her. Then he takes Miss Luo Yu by the hand.
He glides onto the dance floor, completely ignoring Liu Ruyan's burning gaze locked on him. He never looks back. Honestly, it is not about forgiveness anymore. He just does not care. At this point, between you and me, a massive chasm lies between us. Everything has changed beyond recognition. I do not hate you, but I will never love you again. Liu Ruyan watches him.
He moves effortlessly among top artists and business moguls, carrying himself with absolute grace. Seeing Jiang Xingzhou command the room like that sends a sharp stabbing pain through her chest.
This is absolutely Chen Ze, the same cold, broken man from her dreams. Now she is crying? Please. Chen Ze, why are you pretending to be a stranger? She stares at his tall, distant figure. Liu Ruyan whispers to herself, but that is okay. At least he is back. Just having him back is enough. She smiles as her heavy heart finally starts to clear up. Everything is looking up. Chen Ze, we have plenty of time ahead of us. 2 hours later at the Chan mansion, Liu Ruyan orders Li Keizhu to deliver some news. Tell the Chen family right now that Chen Ze has finally returned. What did you just say? You actually saw my boy?
Hearing this, Chen mother starts trembling so hard she almost drops her teacup.
Luckily, Chen Qing catches it just in time. Where is my brother? Where is he now? How is he doing? Is his health okay? Setting the cup down, Chen Qing cannot hide his panic either. Do not worry, second young master. The eldest master is doing perfectly fine. But Li Keizhu looks incredibly uneasy, hesitating to drop the real bomb on them. He is not sure if he should reveal Chen Ze is now Jiang Xingzhu. Tell us already, Chen Qing demands. Well, the eldest master changed his identity to Jiang Xingzhou. He is already a highly praised rising star in the art world. Under their desperate gazes, Li Keiju finally lays out the whole truth to Chen mother. Painting? She freezes in absolute shock. She never even knew her son could paint. Haunted by old memories, her eyes instantly well up with tears. Li Keiju, please wait! Leaving him there, Chen mother quickly rushes up to her bedroom on the second floor. She returns carrying a heavy bag packed with what looks like old drawing paper. These are drawings from 27 years ago when I was pregnant. Please give them to him. I never showed him a mother's love. I never even raised him properly. When he finally came back, I favored the fake who stole his entire life instead. I am not trying to make excuses for my awful behavior. At this point, she is completely sobbing. But back when I carried him.
I truly swore to love him with all my heart. I drew these for my unborn baby.
If he wants to look at them, he can. If not, he can burn them or throw them in the trash. She forces a sad smile. His parents were wrong. We do not even dare to ask for his forgiveness anymore.
Honestly, all she wanted was for him to be safe and happy. Back before Chen Che was even born, his mother only wished for a healthy, happy son.
But how did things go so wrong? This boy was literally her own flesh and blood. Her own biological son, whom she carried for 10 months. Yet the moment he came back,
She couldn't stand anything he did. Instead of showing him a single shred of love, she constantly abused Chen Ze just to please someone else. Talk about a terrible parent.
Now, knowing the truth, she relives that nightmare every night, dreaming of the day Chen Ze got out of prison.
she is drowning in regret. Meanwhile, she desperately turns to Assistant Li.
She literally begs him, please, if you get any news about Aze,
Let me know immediately. I will pay you absolutely anything you want. If Miss Liu is paying you, I will double it. She frantically squeezes Assistant Li's hand. Assistant Li feels pretty awkward and tells her, please, this is just the job Miss Liu gave me.
He tells her not to worry, then quickly takes his leave. Watching him go, Chen Qing
Holds his mother, trying to comfort her that constant effort will eventually melt Chen Ze's heart.
As long as they show their brother genuine love, he will surely come back home.
but deep down, everyone in the room knows that is a total lie. Chen Ze is never coming back.
5 years ago, the old butler showed them the security footage of when Chen Ze first got out. The video captured him trying to come home only to be brutally kicked out. At the very end,
Chen Ze kowtowed 3 times toward the main house, a solid final goodbye.
it was his way of saying he was completely done with them. All ties were officially severed. The mother sighs. Don't comfort me. Honestly, it is our own fault he refuses to return.
She pats Chen Qing's hand and asks how Ah Che is doing.
Chen Qing replies that he was sent to a mental hospital. Knowing his arrogant personality,
There is no way he could handle having his face ruined and being permanently crippled. And honestly, he is just getting a taste of his own medicine. Talk about instant karma.
Meanwhile, over at number 8 Zhaoyuan Road, Chen Ze takes a painkiller.
He sits on a yoga mat to stretch and massage his leg. He really thought
He would be a cripple for the rest of his life.
But back in Dominica, his landlord and Andy took him to a world-class orthopedic specialist. After half a year of therapy, as long as he is not sprinting,
you cannot even tell he was ever severely injured. Our boy is finally healing.
suddenly the doorbell rings. Except for Miss Luo Yu and Officer Chen, absolutely nobody knows he lives here. Confused, Chen Ze frowns and checks the video doorbell feed. On the screen is a stunningly beautiful, but incredibly exhausted face. It is the one face Chen Ze wanted to forget, but could never truly erase from his mind. It is actually her. He quietly whispers her name, Liu Ruyan. When his voice comes through the speaker, Liu Ruyan freezes. At that exact moment, she breaks down and tears start streaming down her face.
She cries out, "Ah, Ze, I knew it was you. You are not Zhang Xingzhou."
You are the Chen Ze I have been searching for. Hearing this, Chen Ze swings the door open and coldly replies, no, I am Jiang Xingzhou. He pulls an official ID card from his bag and holds it right in her face.
See? My name is Zhang Xingzhou. Now leave me alone, Liu Ruyan.
The Chen Ze you spent forever looking for is already dead. Did you seriously forget? You were the one who sent him to prison and personally ended his life. Chen Ze stares coldly at Liu Ruyan. Why is she acting so deeply devoted now?
Despite how pale and exhausted he looks, he delivers every single word with pure venom.
Every word cuts deep as he tells her Chen Ze is dead because of her, Chen Che. And the entire Chen family teaming up to destroy him in prison. At this point, Chen Ze just smirks and says, no, he actually died way before that. He died years ago, on the exact day she chose Chen Che over him. Hearing this,
Liu Ruyan's face turns completely ghost white as his brutal words sink in.
she stammers out an apology, but those 3 words feel incredibly cheap right now. In just one night, this is already the 2nd time he has heard her say it. Honestly, what is an apology even supposed to do at this point? All the agonizing pain she caused him is already completely irreversible. Those painful memories left permanent scars over the years that scream she can never be forgiven. Everything is far too late. 7 years ago, he literally begged her to listen to his side of the story for just 1 second. But she refused, and 7 years later she returned, only to hurt him even more. Now looking completely calm, Chen Ze asks her if she remembers his warning. Do you finally regret it now? Are you actually suffering? Being haunted by his cold stare in her nightmares is absolute torture. And hearing the dark truth directly from Chen Che is like getting sliced alive every day. She destroyed the most precious person in her life, so how could she not regret it? She cries out that she knows she was already unforgivable 7 years ago. And now she is even worse, so she does not even dare to ask for forgiveness. She only begs for one tiny chance to atone, but his response is a flat no. He coldly tells her that he only wants her to stay far away from him. The further away, the better. With those final words, Chen Ze slams the door shut, leaving her to a sleepless night. When he opens his door the next morning, he gets the shock of his life. Liu Ruyan is actually kneeling straight outside his apartment door like a statue. It is incredibly obvious that she has been kneeling out here the entire night. The temperature in the hallway is below freezing, making this stunt extremely dangerous. Chen Ze never expected her to use such a manipulative guilt trip to apologize. Luckily, he has a private floor, or else the neighbors would be gossiping for weeks. Frowning deeply, he asks when she is ever going to stop being so selfish. At the sound of his voice, Liu Ruyan slowly lifts her head. Her face is deathly pale and her lips are terribly cracked as she looks up. He tells her that this dramatic act is actively ruining his peace of mind. If she really wants to atone, shouldn't she start by returning his kidney first? The tables have turned. Shivering violently, she agrees that he is completely right. Her legs are completely numb, but she pulls a razor-sharp dagger from her pocket. Without a second of hesitation, she aims it straight at her own beating heart. In that split second, Chen Ze finally recognizes the weapon. It is the Tibetan dagger he bought 10 years ago while sketching in Lhasa. He had gifted it to her for her 20th birthday back then. Back then, Chen Ze gave her this jeweled dagger and a painting. A simple birthday gift. She called it her favorite, a memory Chen Ze still held close. His mind drifted to her gentle smile. He assumed she threw it away, until the blade sank deep into her flesh, and blood gushed like a broken dam. In her fading consciousness, she heard Chen Ze panic, screaming if she was crazy. Liu Ruyan felt his warm hands desperately pressing down on her bleeding chest. Ruyan, hear me. Even if you die now, I will never forgive you in this life. Not in the next life, not for all of eternity, while she was rushed to St. John's Hospital. Songjin did emergency surgery while Chen Ze's mother heard the news. She called immediately. Running over, she grabbed her blood-stained son, desperately pulling him close. Frantically checking him over, he quickly stepped back and told her it was all Liu Ruyan's blood. Chen Ze avoided her touch. He frowned, asking what she just called him, making her freeze in deep regret. She apologized instantly. He casually waved his hand, acting like he totally understood her slip. It was only natural since she was so used to calling Chen Che and Chen Qing like that. Then, his mother knelt. Chen Ze, wanting a smoke, was completely blindsided by this. What are you doing? She was an elder, the respected Madame Chan. Her heart pierced. To him, she was just Madame Chen, a total stranger, not a mother at all.
Weeping bitterly, she begged him to let her apologize, not as Madame Chen, but as his mother. Her face was soaked in tears.
A mother? He paused, finding it absolutely hilarious how people always do this. People always regret everything after it's lost, only realizing their mistakes after paying a bloody price.
Madam Chen, do you want me to forgive Chen Che?
He suspected this immediately. He said he was just a powerless, broke painter now, so his forgiveness didn't matter. If they felt so guilty, they could just pretend Chen Ze was already dead.
A gentle smile. My name is Jiang Xinzhou.
Those cold words tore his mother's heart to pieces.
No, it's not that. She did not want him to forgive Chen Chi for those unforgivable actions.
His guilt was deserved. He deserved to suffer exactly what Chen Ze went through. Clinging to his hands with all her strength, she sobbed that he never had to forgive him. Not his father, Qing, or even Miss Liu.
We are so sorry.
She begs, saying she just wants to make it up to him, but Chen Ze quietly cuts her off. He tells her he doesn't need it anymore, and man, that just proves he once desperately wanted it.
But that is all in the past now.
At this point, she realizes he is completely checked out, but she still tries to buy his affection. With a determined look, Chen's mother pulls a stack of legal documents out of her handbag. She explains this is for 24% of the shares. 0.8% of the Chen Group shares, entirely under her name. It's all notarized and ready, along with the deeds to 2 massive real estate properties. They were bought by his grandfather before he passed, so they technically belong to him anyway. She looks at him anxiously, trying to force a smile. She says she's proud he became a painter and reveals she bought up several top-tier galleries. She literally bought them all, including a private art museum. They are yours now, but Chen Ze immediately replies, Mrs. Chen, I cannot accept this. I am doing well, he says, and I really do not need any of this. He shakes his head, completely shutting her down.
But his mother just keeps looking at him with that loving maternal gaze.
She says she is just returning what is his, and facing a look like that. But his deep trauma? You cannot just erase years of neglect with cash and nice words once someone is already grown. He shakes his head. Mrs. Chen, from the day I was born until now, I have learned one major truth. Nothing is born belonging to you. Not blood ties, not love. Under her devastated gaze, he smiles. Mom, I once really hoped. You would love me the same way you love Chen Che, but now I do not need it. He says nobody dies from a lack of love. He pauses, then whispers, especially when those sharpest, most painful insults, or even the loudest slaps, come from family. Hearing him call her mom sparked a tiny hope. But his next words leave her completely pale. Z, are you really not going to give me even one chance? Before he can even answer, the red light above the operating room suddenly turns off. The doctor steps out and asks if they're the family, telling them they can finally relax. He was stabilized just in time. He is officially out of danger. Chen Ze immediately steps forward to ask, Please, doctor, when exactly will he wake up? He stands tall with intense focus. Even covered in blood, our guy still carries this incredibly resilient, standout aura about him. He's just heavily exhausted, so he will sleep for a while. It is hard to say exactly how long, maybe just 2 or 3 hours. Or it could even take a couple of days, the doctor honestly replies.
Chen Ze nods. He won't wake up soon anyway.
There's no reason for him to stay, so he tells her to notify the assistant. I have some work to handle, so sorry, I cannot stay. That earlier call of mom feels like a complete illusion, or maybe just a final drop of pity before cutting ties. Looking at how perfectly polite Chen Ze is, his mother's heart just aches with pure, agonizing regret. Z, she calls out, watching his back. He turns around, looking slightly confused, and asks if she needs anything. No, it is totally over. Mother Chen smiles, telling him to take care of his health and not overwork. Sure, thanks, he replies, sounding incredibly polite yet totally distant. Once Chen Ze vanishes around the hallway corner, Mother Chen looks completely devastated. She collapses into a chair, staring blankly at the stack of documents.
Even if Chen Ze refuses to accept them, these things still belong to him. Meanwhile, in the VIP ward, Liu Ruyan is frowning heavily, even in deep sleep. She is clearly dreaming of Chen Ze again, but his figure remains frustratingly blurry. He keeps pushing her away, making her beg in her sleep that she was wrong.
She regrets choosing a fake marriage with Chen Che when she loved Chen Ze most. And she hates that she hesitated, but still ended up throwing him in prison.
She desperately asks if it is too late to say she really loves him. Liu Ruyan tries to grab onto that blurry shadow, but it is completely out of reach. Even if she catches it, it just melts away, leaving her to cry out in apology.
She is willing to accept any punishment and pay any price for his forgiveness. All she wants is for him to look at her and smile just once more.
Honestly, it is low-key heartbreaking how she only dares to confess her love in dreams. But Chen Ze will never know any of this as he rests at his new place. An exhausted Chen Ze takes off his clothes and stands before the full-length mirror. A blue butterfly tattoo marks his waist, right next to his brutal prison scars. While surgery removed the shallow cuts, those deep, jagged marks are still there. They have faded a bit, but they are still permanently etched into his skin. He gently traces the lifelike butterfly tattoo with a heavy sigh. It feels like the sharp pain of the needle is still lingering there. Right on that 10-centimeter scar, the memory of Liu Ruyan still burns. When even physical scars cannot be erased, how does she expect him to forget? Starting over and loving her again is just straight up impossible at this point. For 3 straight days, Chen Ze locks himself inside, doing nothing but painting. He pours all his pain, anger, and dark, suffocating emotions onto the canvas. As he vents on paper, a voice message asks if Xingzhou is doing well. It is from his landlord, saying she packed dried fruit for him to enjoy. She warns him the city is dry and tells him to drink warm tea. Mary prays for him from Dominica, her warm voice filling the dark room. Only the faint glow of his phone lights up his face during this message. Chen Ze curls up on the floor, playing the recording over and over again. Honestly, his entire understanding of a mother's love comes solely from Mary. He misses this sweet woman in Dominica and her warm, chamomile-scented hands. Memories of her incredibly sour cooking and the simple, sun-dried treats comfort him. Those colorful, simple days were peaceful, but suddenly his doorbell rings. Chen Ze wraps himself in a thick blanket and opens the door to guests. Seeing Li Kazoo holding a suitcase, Chen Ze asks if they're together. Li Kazoo quickly clarifies that the other man is Mother Chen's lawyer. While he is here on Liu Ruyan's orders, desperate for a final resolution. This time, Chen Ze lets them in, casually tossing them 2 expensive waters. He sits down and coldly tells them to get straight to the point. Chen Ze just sits cross-legged on the couch, looking completely detached. This 45% share of the Chen Group originally belonged to Madam Chen and Master Qing. It is the equity transfer agreement along with a cash check, as well as the transfer deeds for 3 luxury estates in Xidan and Wanlu Academy. Along with the property deeds, the lawyer steps forward. Calmly pulling out a thick stack of papers, he says Madam Chen and the second master wanted him to pass this on. They know these assets probably mean absolutely nothing to you. But this is their apology. Madam Chen makes sense, but to think even Chen Qing gave up his shares? Pretty wild, right? Chen Ze is shocked. Assistant Li also produces a thick stack, explaining these are all the properties of the Liu Group. Chen Ze frowns and cuts him off. What does this mean? Has the precious heiress of the Liu family decided to just walk away? He scoffs. Secretary Li froze. Liu Ruyan's weak voice echoes from the doorway, saying she only wants to apologize. She knows that a real apology means feeling the exact same pain he went through. Reading the room immediately, Assistant Lai and the lawyer show some real tact. They quietly slip out, while Liu Ruyan, holding back her chest pain, slowly walks closer. She handed over every single asset, leaving her completely broke. She whispers she is no longer the superior one looking down on him, my dear Z. She wants to give him the power to hurt her. He just stares at her pale face. Staring at this uninvited pale woman, he suddenly lets out a cold smirk. He asks if hurting her could ever make those 7 years completely vanish, or erase their scars. Asking her if she is being way too naive for saying those words.
While he feels a surge of satisfaction, his heart also aches. Not gonna lie, this is low-key heartbreaking. Isn't he just ripping open old wounds? But before he can say more, a sudden thud. Liu Ruyan falls straight to her knees. Apologizing, she casts aside all pride. Dropping her ego, she crawls straight to his side.
She wants to grasp his warm hand, but restrains herself and drops her arm.
Fixing this is impossible, and she knows it. She wants to give his pain a release.
An outlet to release, but Chen Ze sneers that they all just want their own selfish hearts.
To feel better? Why should he ever grant them closure? He vows never to forgive them. Absolute final boss energy.
Ensuring they are always far more miserable than he ever was. Chen Ze suddenly grabs the heavy ashtray nearby.
He hurls it viciously straight at her, forcing a sharp groan from her lips.
The glass ashtray strikes her shoulder hard, yet her eyes remain bloodshot as she holds her ground. Holding him, she cries that she does not care if he never forgives her. Even hurting her is fine. Chen Ze freezes in her awkward embrace. Realizing how awkward this is, she lets go. They pull apart instantly, and her old chest wounds flare up painfully, but she merely looks down and whispers an apology. She admits it was her fault, having simply lost control of her emotions. Her soft, submissive voice instantly drags Chen Ze back from the depths of his memories. For a split second there, he actually thought back to the Liu Ruyan of 16 years ago. Back then, she was her absolute best, and now Chen Ze is finally at his best too. This manhwa delivers pure emotional damage, putting 16 years of love, hate, and tears between them. He mocks her, asking how Miss Liu could lose control of her feelings for someone like him. Chen Ze lets out a mocking laugh, his eyes completely frozen. "Don't you find me disgusting anymore?" he asks, and hearing those words, Liu Ruyan's face goes pale, because once those hurtful words are out there, they are like spilled water, impossible to take back, and now she is finally paying the price. His words hit her like a bullet, reminding Chen Ze of his own hellish loneliness. He remembers that pitch-black solitary confinement cell and her pointing at the door, telling him to get out. Those memories only bring him back to that night and the 7 years of pure living hell. Looking at Chen Ze completely breaking down that night, Liu Ruyan does not pull away, but instead wraps her arms around him once more. She begs him to listen, swearing that she never kissed Chen Che that night. But what does that answer even matter now? It is not important anymore. Ain't no way she expects forgiveness after literally throwing him in prison 13 years ago. She sent him straight to jail, and from that exact moment, the relationship was already a dead end. He asks how she can treat him this way just because she's incredibly powerful. Just because she is filthy rich, does she think he is some plaything? "I am a human being," he screams, "a real living person." Chen Ze thrashes wildly in her arms before sinking his teeth deep into her bruised shoulder. He bites down hard, trying to pour out every single drop of resentment from those years. He does not stop until the taste of blood fills his mouth as she whispers apologies. She just repeats those 3 words over and over again. They sound so cheap and hollow now, but what else can she say? A loud slap suddenly rings out as he strikes her hard across the face. She takes the hit quietly and slowly raises her hand. Gently, she pats his back, telling him to just let all his pain out. Hearing those comforting words, Chen Ze suddenly feels like he is back in the past. It feels like he is being held by the 17-year-old Liu Ruyan who once held an umbrella for him. She was the one who rescued him from his suffocating family and told him not to fear. "Even if the whole world hates you," she said, "I will always love you." Back then, she stood under the kapok tree with the most beautiful smile. She was the first to say she loved him, so why did everything fall apart? Why did her entire personality change so drastically after that kidney transplant? Why did she choose to doubt him the second Chen Che came into the picture? Why throw him in prison and then keep torturing him 7 years after that? Why humiliate him with a fake marriage to Chen Che and still refuse to let him go? This is actually crazy. Something deep inside Chen Ze is finally about to snap. Driven by absolute grief and anger, he finally breaks down. He screams with every bit of strength left in him, asking why she did this. It turns out he never forgot, Even after all this time, he remembers every single detail. He really thought that changing his name and moving to a whole new country would save him. He had new friends, a mother figure, and even picked up his paintbrush again. People think moving on means simply putting the past behind you. But he did not. He just buried it deep inside. With no way out, 27-year-old Chen Ze has been trapped in place. Until this exact hysterical breakdown where he looks like a wounded beast. Sobbing on Liu Ruyan's shoulder, he feels her shirt soak through as she begs for forgiveness. Her heart literally breaks seeing him like this, and she starts crying too. Honestly, the ultimate form of love is feeling someone else's pain, and this is low-key heartbreaking. Half an hour later, Chen Ze finally starts to calm down. His eyes are still red, and Liu Ruyan gently reaches out. She lightly touches his tear-stained face, offering a pale, apologetic smile. "I wanted to make things right," she whispers, "but I only made you cry." Chen Ze shakes his head, utterly exhausted. "I am tired," he says. "I really want nothing to do with you anymore." It actually makes me sick, so please, after today, let us never meet again. This is where it ends. Hearing the word sick makes Liu Ruyan pale. Talk about absolute emotional damage. She never expected his very first words after calming down would be pushing her away. And she certainly did not expect him to say something so harsh. "Is there really no chance for us?" she pleads, refusing to give up. She looks at him, desperately clinging to one last hope, searching his face for any hint of regret or lingering affection. But when Chen Ze looks back, there is nothing left. Just pure, deep exhaustion. "I almost died so many times," he tells her. "I thought you would care just a little bit once I got out." Or compassion. "I did not even ask you to find the truth. I just wanted you to treat me better than my family did," he says with a bitter smile. His words hit her like ice water, freezing her entire body and soul. He had so much hope for her, and yet she ruined everything. "I beg you, Liu Ruyan, just let me go," he pleads, seeing how weak she looks. She looks so helpless, but then she remembers his immense pain. Nodding slowly, she finally manages to squeeze out a single word. Okay, she actually agrees. Before leaving, she stares at him for what feels like an eternity, trying to burn his face into her memory forever. "If my presence only hurts you, I will disappear."
I am willing to disappear from your world.
2 weeks later. The doorbell at number 8 Zhaoyun Road keeps ringing, and Chen Ze thinks it is her. He gets ready to mock her broken promise, but opens the door to someone else. It is Chen Che, holding bags of gifts and looking incredibly guilty. "I am sorry to bother you," Chen Che says. "I brought some medicine for your health. And some painting supplies too. I will leave right away." Despite his words, he makes absolutely no move to leave. Instead, he just stares at Chen Ze with wide, watery eyes. Chen Ze feels super uncomfortable and asks if he wants something else. Nodding, Chen Che asks a totally insane question. "Brother, can you slap me?" He grabs Chen Ze's hand, promising he will not run away or hold back. He keeps claiming he is not scared, yet his fingers are trembling inside Chen Ze's palm. Chen Che has been spoiled rotten, honestly. He is basically a fragile flower raised in a greenhouse. He sees the world in pure black and white. Who even begs for a beating these days? Chen Ze looks back, reminding him that everything he did was supposedly for his brother. "I get it," Chen Ze says, "but I only hold back because I refuse to be an abuser. It's not like a single slap could ever fix things between us, I know that. I did so many terrible things to hurt you back then, and I know I was wrong." Bowing deeply, Chen Che apologizes, looking as incredibly pitiful as a wet, abandoned puppy. Honestly, seeing Chen Che act like this, Chen Ze cannot help but feel conflicted. All Chen Ze can do is sigh, but that soft reaction only makes Chen Che push his limits. First, he practically moves into Chen Ze's space, and next he drags him to see Chen. Che's new home, the Ren Xin Mental Asylum. Talk about a grim family reunion. Chen Qing explains that shortly after Chen Ze left, Sister Ruyan sent Chen Che straight to Qisong prison. But the guy did not just self-harm inside, he kept attacking other people too.
That is why Sister Ruman moved him here, Chen Qing explains, while carefully watching Chen Ze's face.
Cautiously, Chen Ze cuts in, asking what the actual point of bringing him here is.
I just wanted you to see that the bad guys finally got what they deserved, Chen Qing replies.
He begs his brother not to be so hard on himself, leaving Chen Ze completely stunned. Why does everyone assume I haven't moved on and that I am still torturing myself? Chen Ze is genuinely baffled, while Chen Qing frantically waves his hands, stammering that he did not mean it like that. He begs him not to misunderstand, but even after a long pause, he cannot explain his point.
Letting out a soft laugh, Chen Ze tells him it is fine and asks where his brother is.
A flustered, red-faced Chen Qing nods eagerly. Standing before the thick glass window, Chen Ze finally spots Chen Che strapped tight to a chair, now labeled as patient number 4108. His mental state is completely off the rails, making him extremely violent toward others. The nurse nearby explains that they really had no other choice but to restrain him like this. The former proud second young master is now reduced to a cold, nameless number on a folder. It is eerily similar to Chen Ze's own dark past. Most of those fresh wounds are self-inflicted. The rest are just marks left from struggle whenever they force his meds or injections. Both Mrs. Chen and Miss Liu apparently agreed that a few injuries are completely inevitable here. They only care that he stays alive, seeing Chen Ze stare at the scars on his arm.
The nurse starts getting nervous. Chen Ze simply nods, choosing to respect his brother's dark destiny.
He has officially dropped his savior complex. He wants absolutely zero part in their karma. Chen Qing whispers that he only wants his brother to finally get some peaceful sleep.
No one is ever going to hurt you again, Chen Qing promises, squeezing his hand tight.
He is still acting incredibly cautious, clearly worried about the dark circles under Chen Ze's eyes. He even notices the sleeping pills left on the table. Right now, their hands feel incredibly warm. Thump, thump. It is like their heartbeats are slowly syncing up in the quiet room. We share the tightest blood bond in the world, brother, and I promise to love you. Even though my confession is many years too late, I truly do care about you. Chen Ze stays completely quiet for a moment before softly calling out his name. You really do not need to do this, Chen Ze says, but Chen Qing eagerly cuts him off. Of course it is necessary, he insists, because you are my only brother. If our parents ever pass away, you will be the only family I have left on Earth. He tears up, promising to share all his wealth and status with his brother. Please believe love is stronger than hate. Honestly, only Chen Ze would say something like that. As Chen Ze turns and walks away, Chen Che is left tied to a chair, crying his eyes out. But nobody cares. On December 21st, Chen Ze holds his first art exhibition. It is at the Jin Art Museum, themed around the rainy season. Famous artists pack the gallery. Meanwhile, Liu Ruyan shows up wearing a black dress. She stands before a massive, fiery red kapok tree painting that is being drenched in rain. But the red looks even brighter, burning like an absolute flame. Coincidentally, the title of this exact piece is Fire in the Rain. Contact Ms. Luo Yu, she orders. I am buying this painting. Let them name any price, she adds. Time passes. Liu Ruyan is visibly weak since her wounds have not fully healed yet. She has to stop and cough after every single sentence, while Assistant Li just nods beside her. He gets right on it. Lately, Liu Ruyan really has avoided Chen Ze, but she still makes Assistant Li deliver gifts. He brings him healthy meals, flowers, and desserts every single day, which Chen Ze initially rejected. Eventually, he stops throwing them out. Thinking of this, Liu Ruyan can't help but smile. Meanwhile, Chen Ze just finishes chatting with some art teachers. That is when he spots Assistant Li nearby. Liu Ruyan must be close by, which is exactly why Chen Ze walks over. This painting is tucked deep inside the gallery, so it is pretty quiet back here. His voice is quiet, but it is clear. Chen Ze knows there is no way she missed his voice, yet she still hesitates to turn around. She just stands there as his footsteps draw closer and closer. He finally stops beside her. Liu Ruyan, did you not hear me call you? Chen Ze frowns, avoiding looking at her pale and exhausted face.
I heard you, she smiles bitterly. Sorry, I did not mean to get in your way.
I will leave right now, she says, turning to go.
But Chen Ze suddenly grabs her pinky finger, unable to even explain his own actions. Maybe it is because of this kapok tree. In this instant, her entire soul starts trembling the very moment he holds her hand.
Our first meeting was in the pouring rain. You were soaked all over, looking like a homeless little kitten.
Hiding under the bus stop, I had no idea you were the Chen family's eldest son.
I just thought you looked so incredibly pitiful, Liu Ruyan murmurs in a soft, gentle voice. Almost like she is afraid of scaring him off. But then, you looked up. I knew right away you were not some helpless, fragile kitten. You were no victim. Your eyes were dark and incredibly bright. They held a stubborn pride, so I asked who you were. Why you were there. She looks up at Chen Ze.
Smiling at their linked hands, she says, "You told me your name was Chen Ze, but you did not know who you were and asked who I was."
I told you my name. Just the 2 words, Ruyan.
Then I recited a poem. She really remembers every detail of that day.
Chen Ze stares at her, stunned that she remembers it so vividly. His long, frozen heart suddenly starts racing again, taking him back to when he was 15. Back when Liu Ruyan was just 18, he truly loved her with all his heart. But he refused to be like some parasite, using her status just to show off. He wanted to stand beside her as an equal, a proud tree matching her height. He was ready to face every storm and dark cloud of life together with her. Looking like they were worlds apart, yet bound together for their entire lives. Now it finally clicks for Liu Ruyan why Chen Ze used to recite this poem.
To her, Chen Ze was like a bright flower and a brave torch in the dark.
She hurt him so badly back then, and now she is left completely broken, wondering what real love actually means. She takes a desperate step toward him, crying out that she is sorry and cannot bear to lose him forever.
All she wants is to hold on to him for life, literally begging for another chance. Leaning her head against his cold shoulder, she begs him to give her even the tiniest shred of hope. Once the emotional roller coaster of the art exhibition wraps up, Chen Ze heads straight back to Dominica. He just wants to hide away in his quiet little attic overlooking the vast ocean and the local volcano, ready to seek comfort from Mary, who is basically a mother to him. If someone who broke your heart completely in the past begs for another chance, would you actually give in? Resting his head on Mary's lap, he gently closes his eyes in absolute exhaustion. As she gently runs her fingers through his hair, he breathes in a comforting, long-lost scent. It is the calming smell of chamomile, letting him know he is finally safe. Now that he is back, he finally decides to tell Mary and Andy his actual name, since Liu Ruyan and the rest of his toxic family already found out the truth about him anyway. They know Zhang Xinzhou is actually Chen Ze, so there's no point hiding. There is really no point in keeping secrets from the people who actually care about him, as he holds Mary's hand. Mary looks down at him, her eyes filled with deep warmth and kindness. She looks at him with so much love, saying that if it were her, she would never forgive them. She says that choosing to forgive too easily now would only mock the pain of his past self. It would make all his past suffering completely meaningless. This hits Chen Ze hard. Honestly, how can his peaceful current self make a decision on behalf of the broken boy he used to be? Forcing a broken connection back together is just an open invitation to repeat the exact same tragic mistakes. With that realization, Chen Ze slowly sits up from her lap.
He looks over at his phone screen, which has been constantly lighting up with spam from Liu Ruyan.
Liu Yu already reached out to tell him that someone is willing to pay a massive 8 figures for his painting. He does not even need to think twice to know this desperate, high-paying client is actually Liu Ruyan. After all, she is the only person on Earth who truly understands the tragic story behind that piece. Once the massive transaction is officially completed, our main character makes a direct and cold move. He gets Liu Ruyan's contact info from his agent and immediately transfers half of that insane multi-million-dollar payment right back to her. He knows exactly what his artwork is actually worth, and it is definitely not that absurd sum.
He absolutely refuses to use their toxic past relationship as a cheap way to hype up his art or make himself look artificially successful.
Her texts keep coming, warning him about the rain in Dominica and telling him to bring an umbrella.
She even goes on about sending him pain patches, telling him to use them if the rainy weather makes his legs ache. It is just a non-stop stream of concerned messages from her, with the very latest one being a sad apology.
She texts him that she is getting seriously worried because he keeps leaving her on read.
She begs him to forgive her constant nagging, but Chen Ze just keeps ghosting her without a single word. But honestly, some things are just meant to be settled face to face rather than over text. So early the next morning, he finally sends her a meeting spot, a highly sacred temple hidden in Dominica. It is built right on the edge of the scenic Trafalgar Falls, setting the stage for their final confrontation. It is the perfect spot to watch the waterfall crash down. He asks her if her injuries are all healed up.
Chen Ze looks over at Liu Ruyan, and honestly, the tension is unreal as he breaks the silence.
She nods and says yes. Chen Ze just smiles softly, calling her name, Ruyan.
Every time I stand right here, he says, I cannot help but marvel at how magnificent nature is. And how small we really are. A human life is just a fleeting 100 years. We love and we hate, and that is it.
He looks deeply at the older Runyan, seeing his own aging reflection right back in her eyes.
Ruyan, he tells her, we do not have much time left. Sensing what he is about to say next, her heart drops. And honestly, this is low-key heartbreaking.
She tries to speak, but he gently shakes his head to stop her.
I am not looking back, Ryan. I promised myself that before leaving Jinxi. My life only goes forward now because there is just too much baggage between us. Too much bitterness, too much pain. Please forgive me for not being able to let it go. I cannot get over it, Chen Ze smiles, but maybe in 10 or 20 years. I will finally move on, and when that day comes, maybe we can sit down for a drink. But love? Yeah, that is gone from our story forever. That is it. What is missed, and there is no going back. Ruyan gets it, the realization hitting hard. She promises she will never bother him again. Just knowing that he is doing well is enough for her. After a long, heavy silence, she barely forces those words out. Dominica is a beautiful place, he says. Have a safe journey. And that is the very last thing Chen Ze tells her before they part ways. Talk about a permanent goodbye. Years fly by and the two never cross paths again. Ruyan only catches glimpses of Zhang Xingzhou on TV, expanding his global empire. But as for Chen Ze, the major shareholder of Chenlu City's biggest conglomerates, he is still the youngest billionaire around, and she occasionally sees updates on Cheng Qing's feed. She sees photos of the two of them, looking a bit tanned and heavier. But they look genuinely happy, and honestly, that is just how life's journey goes.
People board your train and others get off, so cherish those who are with you right now.
Because once you miss some people, they are gone forever. On Chen Ze's abandoned social media account,
Ruyan leaves one final message, wishing him a lifetime of endless spring.
And hoping his favorite red flowers will bloom forever.